It's maiden day for this B26 Marauder from Bitgo Hobby. Let's get to it. All right guys, here we go. This is the Maiden on the Dynam B26 Marauder. We are going to be taking off here with high rates, narrow driveway. We're going to be using half flaps. Range test is good. Timer set for 5 minutes on this thing. So after 5 minutes, we'll land it and see what we have left in the battery. So what do you say we get rolling here? All of our functions are good. Up elevator, down, right aileron, left aileron, and flaps. Again, it's a little bit windy, so we're going to see what happens. And away we go. Oh, this is not good. Definitely fighting a lot of wind up there. I think we got her kind of scary canary. It's bouncy. It is kind of windy today, so it's kind of hard to judge this thing.
4 minutes.
There we go. We're back to flying pretty level. All right, we got her trimmed out here, and I think we're rocking and rolling. So you can see the wind has a pretty good effect on this thing. It really kind of tends to throw it. I have a feeling we lost, maybe it looks like a decal over there or something. So I needed a good bit. I'm maxed out of up elevator trim getting this thing to take off, but you know what they say? They say fly it to the crash. And I think that in this case is what was gonna happen. I mean, for that takeoff, it was kind of scary until we got that trim in there. It was off a good bit. So I'll be curious to see where that was when we land. There was a lot of people that did report on RC groups that the incidence in the tail needs to be changed. Maybe that's why. To be honest, I haven't looked into it to see, but for what it is, again, today it's cold here in PA, so the winds are pretty abrupt. They come out of the middle of nowhere. That's about half throttle on a flyby. Maybe even just a touch tail heavy there, the way that tail's sagging. Bring her by here full power so you can get a look at it. It's definitely bumpy in the wind. Climb her up here a bit and I'll see if she rolls, how she handles that. You can see it just getting tossed around up there. It's nice and sunny here and the skies are finally clear, but as far as the rest of it, it's sketchy. A loop, cut the power. Loop's pretty good, no issues with looping. Again, we're running a 4S 4000 pack in this thing. Bring it up here a little bit higher.
Time remaining 1 minute.
Definitely needed aileron or rudder authority to complete that roll. It drops pretty good, so Maybe from factory settings we can use a little bit more aileron throw if we can get it. But definitely have to get, I'm probably 2 clicks short of elevator trim here. So I am holding some up elevator pressure.
30 seconds.
All right. Oh. And that was the end of that. We're here for maiden attempt number 4. So the other ones, I wish that I had more video footage to show you, but with the weather, I tried to sneak something in. And I can tell you one of the pieces of advice I would give you guys, and I'll show you towards the end, is that you really need to shim the incidence in the tail correctly. Basically, I ran out of up elevator very quickly after flight, so the flight was very brief, very short, and not very good. So a modification or two needed, and also a lot of my decals, my water-based decals, kind of left very quickly. I had issues getting them to adhere later on down the road, and again, it was probably 0 degrees when I was outside, and maybe that has something to do with it. But otherwise, a couple quicks. So we're back here to do the Maiden. We did this first with an Admiral receiver in there. Couldn't get it to range test. Again, the value in doing range testing. Again, repositioned it, added a satellite, still couldn't get the Admiral to range test. So attempt number 3 is what I just told you about, and we went with the Spectrum receiver in this thing. So we are back here at the field and really going to give this thing a run through the paces. But here's a couple of the cool things that I like. Again, I take into account the price of this plane for really what you're getting, and there's a lot here for the price. So far in an honest review, there's some of the other Bitgo Hobby planes that more my favorite, to be quite honest, but I think if this is in your budget range, you get a lot of things here. So let's take a look at some of this stuff. So again, we got some LED wingtip lights in there, which are cool. Again, running on a 4S, plenty of room up here in the nose. We got the counter rotating props in the guns, and if you really want to put the time in, guys, you can actually go to RC groups, and they got a ton of mods and information, from bay bomb doors to you can see I did a random movement generator in this. Check this thing out. Look how cool that thing is. It just randomly does its own thing, the gun turret right there. Now that thing you can actually add to anything you want to turn. I picked that up over at Dave's RC Electronics. You can check them out over at www.davesrce.com. And I simply just cut the hatch open, added the servo to the bottom, a robotic servo, and that thing will just do its own thing moving around. A nice little cool feature. So the plane has the ability to do a lot of customization. I actually like on this model the flaps that are in here, how they're kind of the Fowler flap styles. The plane has a decent finish. Again, 2 motors, 2 ESCs in this. You can see my decals. I kind of lost some of the decaling there trying to get it. So this plane has been out for a while. It's not a brand new plane to the market, and I have a feeling some of that glue and stuff dried up. But tons of mods that you can do to this thing. I think we've talked about the model enough here, but again, some of the glue spots you can get over in here, they could have been better. You know, I would have hoped for better, but again, I take price point into consideration. It's not a $600 model, and I think it's pretty cool with the retracts. This has retracts underneath, and some nice big heavy duty landing gear as well, if you guys can see those in there. But enough said, let's get it up in the air. Alright guys, so it is true maiden day here for this B26 bomber from Bitgo. Again, retracts on this. It's pretty windy here today, so I'm going to take off without flaps and see how this goes. We have 5 minutes set on the timer. Again, running 4S battery in this. I believe we put in a 4000. So let's give it the gumption and see what happens. Kind of a little concerned for this one. Again, elevator issues and so forth, but we'll see what happens. Here we go. Going up.
Gear up.
Still need a good bit of elevator trim up. So we seem to be flying okay there. We're at 3/4 throttle on this thing. The wind bounces this thing around a good bit. Very pitchy on high rates. I think we have it kind of leveled off there. Feels pretty good, but again, we're flying pretty high in the power range. CG is where the book
4 minutes.
recommended on this thing. I think it's just you got to be on the sticks. I think this one is just not as smooth flying as all the other Bitgo planes. Again, it's different. I have a shim in the tail on this. And there we lost elevator. Try and shoot this back through here. Heads up. And there we go. So we flew it again, and same result as last time. I lost elevator on this one again. So we used rudder to get it around in full power, but yeah, not a lot of luck with this one, guys. It's just going to be whatever it is with this one. So we'll call it the one-offs. I know one of the other guys here at the club actually brought his with him today, and his has been flying really well. So don't know what the issue is here, but again, we have some weird elevator issues that seem to be problematic that plague. So it is what it is, and let's go take a walk down there and see what we got. So I'm hoping you guys got to see that on the pull-through. On that footage, when I lost elevator, I kept it level and let it go out using the power to help it stay level, and then to climb for what it could. And then once I had it away from everyone, I had to use rudder to turn it and aileron to keep it level because I had nothing. Yeah, and like I can tell here from, again, it looks like I got a bad servo in the elevator. Yeah, it's just test it, and it's good, but there's something about the pressure in the air. Again, we kind of just crashed her flat. So she'll fly again, no doubt, but that's something with that servo in the elevator on this one, guys, needs to be upgraded. But that's what it is. We'll get an elevator servo in there and we'll redeem it. It looks like we need props on this thing again, but you know, that's the way it goes. Sometimes you have planes that, you know, will fly forever with no effort, and then you have other planes that you gotta tweak some things to, and I think we got some tweaking here. Again, we got a decent model here, guys. It's just it's gonna take a little bit to work through. So let's get this one back and load it up, and we'll live for another day. All right, guys, and there you have it. It is what it is, and we got to deal with it. I was glad that I was able to use some good piloting skills and get the thing into a nice flat area and kind of just land it the best I could to minimize damage. But again, so it's Brendan here, Just Plain Crazy. If you liked it, make sure you hit that thumbs up. If you didn't like it, make sure you hit the thumbs down button twice for me, all right? Like, share, subscribe, all that cool stuff. Feel free to leave comments down below. But again, some planes live forever, and some planes have a very short expiration date. But with that being said, I wish you guys happy flights. Peace out.